thank you everybody for attending our CD Foundation online meetup today. I know this is a super busy day with DevOps World going on, and I hope that some of you are enjoying DevOps World. I think you can still register for it if you haven't. It's a 3-day event and everything will be recorded so that you can browse through things and see the sessions that you want to see. There have been some pretty interesting sessions I attended this morning, and our Steve Taylor did one. He had several people attend it. It was really good, so I highly recommend signing up. I also have to remind everybody that the CD Foundation is having their own virtual event, and that is October 7th and 8th. Please register for that. Go to cd.foundation and you will find all the information on how to register for it. There is a $25 donation associated to the registration. It either goes to Women Who Code or Black Girls Who Code, or you can donate it to our diversity fund for college kids and other folks who are signing up for attending CDCon but can't afford to pay for it. That is in line with our goal to really push diversity in technology. We are, we have several strategic goals, and diversity is one of them. So that is why we put that donation out there. I always forget to introduce myself. I am Tracy Reagan. I am your host of the online CD Foundation meetups. We have several of them coming up. If you go to the meetup, you will see, I think that we have 2 coming up. I think we're scheduled through November. So please keep watching that meetup group, because we have several that I'll probably book them through January, and or I may book them through December, and we might take January off. Everybody's attending these because we honestly have nothing better to do considering it's COVID, so this is a good time to do these kinds of events. Also, I am, as you guys are you're coming in, I am allowing you to talk. I feel like that these meetups should be more, we should be able to, all of us should be able to talk to each other. So during this presentation, if you have a question for Vlad, just speak up, just like we would be if we were in a regular room. And I may not do these in webinar mode in the future. I might just start doing them as a regular Zoom meeting so that everybody is able to talk and interact with each other. On that note, I am going to introduce Vlad Silverman. I met him, I reached out to him on LinkedIn. I think I was tracking Jenkins contributors, and apparently he hadn't been doing that for very long, but I found him pretty quick after he posted that he was contributing to Jenkins on LinkedIn. And I reached out, we chatted, we had a very good chat about CD in general, and I asked him if he would do a presentation on Jenkins. We know that Jenkins is still loved by so many of us, and it will be used long into the future, and we're probably going to see it morph as we start doing microservices. I'm hoping that's the case, and I'm hoping that Jenkins starts kind of shifting to support a microservices environment. So we're hoping that Jenkins has a long life in front of us, and because so many of us use it, it is a critical piece of our CD pipeline. On that, I am going to introduce Vlad, and I'm going to let him take over. And again, if you have questions, as you all should have the ability to talk, so just reach out.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for contacting me, for inviting me, and for this wonderful introduction. Thank you very much. Today I'm going to talk about Jenkins controller, as you can see from this slide, ease of use and hidden treasuries of Jenkins. Just a couple of words about this term Jenkins controller. Some people may be familiar, some maybe not. This is a new term replacing Jenkins master. Effort to replace terminology both in documentation and in the code. There is significant amount of documentation and code. It is very major efforts project, and so when I'm mentioning Jenkins controller, please be aware about Jenkins master, which is already kind of outdated terminology. And as subtitle mentions, I'm going to specify some hidden treasures and ease of use of Jenkins ecosystem as a whole. So let me see how I can switch here. I'm able to switch to the next slide. So a little bit about the goal of this presentation. I mainly targeting the new users of Jenkins. Well, as many people know, Jenkins was released, I believe, in 2004. So it was more than 15 years ago. So it is, well, had been in the industry and had been used by a lot of companies for a while. And during all this time, some people think, and maybe some companies think, that a lot of new stuff was added to Jenkins, which provided a lot of flexibility and added complexity to Jenkins ecosystem as a whole. And of course, this is in part true. Flexibility is one of the powerful things that Jenkins has, but its weakness. But in general, I think that well, there is misconception about Jenkins as a whole, that it is very complex system. I think you don't need to be very advanced programmer to start using Jenkins. I'm going to show in this demo. So my presentation is going to divide it in several parts. First of all, I'm going to talk about installing the dockerized Jenkins version of Jenkins. As you can see, I'm trying to focus on a combination between Jenkins and Docker. I'm going to talk a little bit about Docker later. Also, I'm going to talk in the next portion of this demo about declarative pipelines, how to use them, about the hidden treasures, which I think there are a lot of hidden treasures, of course. Some of those are visual editor provided by one of the plugins and by syntax generator provided both by the plugins and outside of the plugins. And at the end of presentation, I'm going to talk about probably the most interesting thing, how to customize Jenkins Docker image. This is very, very interesting, powerful stuff, and I'm going to show that you don't need to be very advanced programmer to do this, and we're going to accomplish all these things if time allows during this hour. So let me go to the next slide. And as I mentioned, we're going to focus on this combination between Jenkins and Docker. Well, Docker is de facto standard of container. It is used already for a while. And well, Jenkins and Docker really love each other. And combination of both of them can provide a lot of advantages. And I'm going to show how it is easy to install a Dockerized version of Jenkins. And also at the end, I'm going to show a little bit how to customize official Docker image, because a lot of, some things cannot be done straightforward from Docker agent, Docker official image, and how to do customization. I'm going to show this later. So about hidden treasures, I think declarative pipeline is one of the hidden treasures. For people who had been using Jenkins for a while, they know that, well, pipelines was not original notion which was introduced with the original release of Jenkins. Before it was like freestyle projects, later it was pipelines, which allow to organize different things. But before it, scripted pipelines, and just several years ago, Jenkins introduced the notion of declarative pipelines, which is the next kind of step in making more powerful pipelines. And I'm going to talk about how it is possible to edit declarative pipeline with one of the plugins called Blue Ocean plugin. Well, plugins, of course, is the way how Jenkins be extended. Plugins allow to bring more power to Jenkins as the software system. There are, I believe, about 2,000 plugins, or maybe even more. There is probably not any person who knows all these plugins, well, except maybe some of them, whom I have great respect. But I'm going to focus on one of the plugins, just one of the plugins, Blue Ocean plugin, which was introduced, I guess, several years ago, and show how to edit declarative pipelines, and also how to generate declarative syntax. It can be done outside of this Blue Ocean plugin and inside. And main advantage of doing this, of course, when we use Blue Ocean plugin, it is possible to auto-generate pipeline diagrams. And this generation is done basically by Jenkins. We don't need to write any line of code. And also when we generate syntax, of course, it is like a very great experience for those people who would like to learn pipeline syntax, because they can just try out. This generator will create the code for them, so they don't need to again doing any coding. It will be done for them by Jenkins. I think this is a very powerful concept and very good in learning, but also in using and customizing Jenkins. Talking about combination between Jenkins and Docker. There are two approaches. One is, obvious. Docker is container, and we can embed Jenkins inside Docker. This is obvious approach, and this is the approach which we use for installing Jenkins in the system, which will be showing in this demo. And another approach is when we use Jenkins as to build, test, and deploy Docker images inside pipeline. In this approach, we are using Jenkins as controller, as master of ceremony, as orchestrator of the entire pipeline, which will try to figure out which stages to run, what kind of agents to call, and so on. This is a very powerful concept, and I will show how to use it and how to create this customized Jenkins pipeline. So these two approaches are depicted on this image on the left. You can see at the bottom kind of little bit outdated logo of Docker with different Jenkins versions embedded inside. And we can use, for instance, here we can use something like official Jenkins image, or we can use some other image with different platforms and so on. So by combining any of these Docker Jenkins images with Docker, we create our own, it's possible to use a specific version of Jenkins. We can install this. When we're talking about this approach on the left, we're talking about easy installation. We embed Jenkins inside Docker container. Now to the right, when we have already Jenkins started as the system, we can use Jenkins to call different agents, Docker agents. And in every agent, we can include, of course, different software which we need, whether it will be different versions of software, of build software, test, deploy, whatever we want. And it's really powerful concept. And of course, when we're doing this, we're talking about easy customization of the entire pipeline, and later I will show how to customize, the entire Docker image.
Vlad, there's a question before you go to the next screen. I think you may have answered it, but I'll just bring it up. JD asked, can Docker be used as a controller like Jenkins?
Well, I guess it is the question about egg and chicken, like who is the parent?
Yeah.
Well, Docker is container. So when Jenkins is inside Docker, of course, Docker is itself as controller. I'm not familiar with Docker terminology. I know that there are, of course, a lot of different Docker masters, and you can organize this form. There is, of course, Kubernetes, which is next edition coming after Docker. But regarding controller, I'm not sure about specific term controller. But in general, of course, when we're using Docker with Jenkins inside, we can provide different instances of Docker. And in this case, yeah, we can use this as controller.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that.
Mm-hmm. So going back to the first part, installing Jenkins, as we mentioned, Jenkins runs inside Docker. We're talking about installing Dockerized version of Jenkins. There is specific website, and I'm talking about one of the registries, a well-known registry provided by Docker themselves. It is here is the URL link for this registry. From there, we can grab official image of Jenkins. It is Jenkins/Jenkins. And this is on the right, the snapshot of this registry. There are more than 100 million pulls already from this site. So in case if you will be using, I'm addressing new users of Jenkins, of course, you will be not definitely the first person who is using this. This is command which we can use, and I will talk about a little bit about this command. Here we can see that we're using, they are suggesting using Docker pull Jenkins. In case you already have image installed on your device, on your computer, for instance, on your laptop and so on, you can just run this. In case if you don't have this image, this command will grab the image from the registry and run it. So in my presentation, I'm going to use this. And before going to presentation, I wanted to mention here some people who had used Jenkins before, they know that I'm not using different ports, just one port. This is, again, just to show that it is possible to very easily start using Jenkins. It is not intended for production environment. So for in case if you want to do production work with Jenkins, there are a lot of different other things which will need to be taken care of. So again, my main goal is to inspire people who start using Jenkins and specifically Docker and Jenkins to start using it, enjoy and see how simple and easy to use this instead of this misconception of complexity of the system. Now, requirements for to do this work. First of all, we need to have, of course, Docker software installed, and I'm, of course, addressing to the people who may want to repeat this demo on their own computer, who would like to do this on their own. You need to go to this site and just get Docker software installed on your specific machine. And the other requirement for doing this demo, repeating this demo, is you need to have GitHub account. GitHub is, as many people know, a public version control system. It is completely free. You go open the browser, go to github.com, and I guess it is join, and you can easily create account even more easily than get Docker installed. So let me switch to the demo, and let me see if I can type Docker run minus 8080 and we'll specify Jenkins Jenkins and specify LTS. So LTS means long-term support, and I would suggest doing this because Jenkins is released every like every day, but long-term support is released every couple of weeks, I guess, depending on the schedule. Let me a little bit switch to the browser, and I want to show what I mentioned before. In order to install Docker, well, you need to go to this website, and it is very easy to install in case somebody doesn't have Docker. It is so easy. Docker for Windows, for Linux, for Mac, and so on. Just click the button, and in several moments, you will have it installed, verify your installation, and so on. So it is not complex at all. It is pretty easy. Now, how to go to this website, to this Jenkins registry? I wanted to show this Jenkins IO download, and it is very, again, easy to reach. You go to jenkins.io and click download button, either here or here. It is pretty straightforward. You go to this download page. On the left, you will see stable long-term support releases, and I would suggest using those releases because they are stable, basically. But regular releases are like doing weekly, and stable, I guess, more random. So if we click Docker, we'll just switch to the site which we mentioned. It is Docker Registry, and here you see this like Docker pool Jenkins. But in case if you already have, and I have on my system already installed this official Jenkins image, it will be Jenkins LTS. But instead of pool, I'm running doing run. Again, in this case, it will, in case if somebody doesn't have this image, it will be downloaded. So let's start this command and see what it says. Again, many people who have been using Jenkins for a while, they may find it very boring and not interesting at all, this beginning of the demo. But again, I'm addressing just new users and showing that it is very easy to run this. What we're waiting for? We're waiting for the message saying that Docker Jenkins is up and running. Let's copy this admin password, which will be needed to log in into Jenkins. We're saying that this is downloaded, completed initialization, and Jenkins is fully up and running. This is the message we're waiting for. After that, we can easily go to our local host 8080. Just let's refresh it. It's asking us to unlock this admin password, unlock the Jenkins, and we're hitting install suggested plugins. Again, people who had been using Jenkins for a while, they had seen this screen probably hundreds of thousands of times. Those are suggested plugins. As I mentioned, plugins is the way how you extend Jenkins and make it more powerful. There are listed like 14 plugins, I guess, here. You can see the process, how they are downloaded on the right. And if you go to our terminal window, see here how like every plugin is downloaded. But let's say also that well, 14 plugins are listed here, but actually it's downloading, I guess, about 80 plugins because behind the scene, Jenkins downloads all plugins dependent from the listed here. You may use in your development work, start work, not all of the suggested plugins, but definitely Git is one of the plugins that you will need, which will communicate with your Git system, for instance, version control system, and so on. So let's, instead of waiting for this download to finish, let's go back to presentation, and I will talk a little bit about a couple more slides here, what I'm going to show next. Next, I'm going to show how to, again, grab the one of the plugins which is not installed by default, and just to recall, we downloaded and we were running official dockerized Jenkins image, and we're installing well, suggested plugins, 14 suggested plugins, and actually it may be a little bit more than 14. But after like installing Blue Ocean plugin, we can do actually editing of the pipelines. And well, with Blue Ocean, there are certain advantages of doing this. I will show what are the advantages, but one of the main advantages, we can see visual editor. We can do visual editing of the pipeline. Here you can see that, well, this, for instance, pipeline include build, test, and deploy, different stages. Some stages are running in parallel, like test, for instance. We have different, for instance, here, different versions of the browser, which we are testing, and so on. And it is structured pipeline, of course. All this is done with declarative pipeline. And while doing this, it provides us support for version control system. In the demo, I'm going to show support for GitHub, but of course, there are different version control systems, including those supporting Git protocol. Multi-branching, which is a very important topic, and I'm not going to, well, maybe a little bit talk about this, but there are more interesting concepts in multi-branching and parallel execution, which allows, of course, increased performance significantly when you're executing different stages in parallel. I'm going to show, well, how to run the job, actually, which we create, how to run this job. And this is languages of this Blue Ocean plugin. It shows current stage, which executed. It shows with the green color what had been completed. It shows in gray what we need to still execute, what is next coming still. So this is not executed, these stages are not executed. It shows timing for every step and every stage. And also we have ability to restart the stage. For instance, here, restart build Python app, we can restart one of the previous stages which already completed, or we can restart from any stage. This is available with declarative pipelines, and this is one of the great advantages. And also at the end, when the entire job will be completed, you will see how the header of this plugin will be changed to green. So it means that everything is completed. You can see the entire path of this execution path of the entire path pipeline, and besides, you will see which stages had been not executed. So you will see something like when conditions, probably, which is one of the statements in declarative pipeline, allowing to do if then else kind of logic. Yeah, red for aborted jobs, green for completed jobs. I did mention that red is, of course, not a very friendly color in software testing. And we can see real-time pipeline path and also easy login view. We can see the log, the details of the log, what is going on. Yeah, let me show how to do this Blue Ocean. Let's go back to our demo and see, okay, so we have everything completed, all plugins, and we can just go to this terminal and we can see that completed installation of 17 minutes 39 seconds it took. So this, I mentioned before, instead of these 14 plugins, it downloaded also all dependent plugins, which like it did it by himself. Jenkins did it for us. We don't need to worry about dependency in this case, which is also very interesting and powerful. Now let's go back to our just one of the admin users, and let's be very simple. Just again, this is not for production, but just to show that, well, how it can be done. Well, let's call it admin actor. Admin actor. And email address you can provide just any of the addresses and save and finish, start using Jenkins. That's it. So it took us, well, several minutes to install Dockerized version of Jenkins. Well, past installation step because it was downloaded. With downloading, it will take like extra, depending on the network traffic, a couple of minutes, maybe less. And we installed default plugins, we installed Jenkins, and it is up and running. Now, what we want to do, as I mentioned in the slide, we would like to install additional plugin, and this is the way how it can be done. For instance, for this part of the presentation, since we're admin users, we can just go to manage plugins, manage Jenkins, there is manage plugins item here. In all plugins, it will show us all plugins which are installed. In available, in this version, we don't see one of these else releases, which is actually, you can see here, Jan 49.1. This is the release which we're installing. By the way, if you go, let's go back to Jenkins IO side. See, this is the release of one of these latest long-term releases, 249.1. So let's type here Blue Ocean, just trying to search for this Blue Ocean, and you will still provide all plugins which have Ocean. To go to the bottom of this, second from the bottom is Blue Ocean, which is the parent plugin. You select it and click install. And in real time, it will show how it's downloaded. Again, it's downloading not just Blue Ocean plugins, but all small plugins which are dependent, because it is like very close project which by Jenkins, several years ago, it's full enough. So it has a lot of dependent plugins, but again, you don't need to worry about dependency. Jenkins does it for us. And so it provides in real time how it's downloading all this, plugins. If you want to see this on the, you will hear this plugin is downloaded, and we'll see more details, information about, like, you can figure out the timing and so on from this. So net traffic. It may take several minutes. It may, sometimes more, but you just need to be patient and wait for all these plugins to download, which are the, included in Blue Ocean plugins, so you can start using this. Let's see, well, I guess it is just some network going on, network traffic, it's pending. Usually, several moments. It is like very fast, and it will bring this plugin very fast. You can get it downloaded already a lot of
Hey Vlad, can you use this process to update plugins? So what if a new version of a plugin's out there? Does it automatically update? If you go out here, is there a way to automatically update plugins?
Yes, I think you can automatically plugins, and I guess it will even plugins, the Jenkins system. But I'm going to show later in the demo another way to install plugins. You can just specific version plugin and the name plugin that you want to be installed in the system. I'm talking about infra code. software mainly users, newcomers, so that install running Jenkins system. There is way in case if you want to automate things, in case if you want to do this from command line, there is a way of doing this as well. And I'm going to show one of solutions how to do this a little bit later in the demo. But I think it is yes, the answer to the question. So right now we can see that it is down one part Jenkins, and it is restarting right now. And again, it will go to this Jenkins will like terminal window. We're waiting for the message Jenkins up and running. It will show that like everything is completed. Started. It's showing Jenkins fully up and running. And this is the message we're waiting for. And so after this, we can switch back to this screen and just to the web screen and go back to this localhost 8080 where we installed our system and see what we'll have right now. Okay, so it provided us again the login screen, allowing us to log in into the system. We created this admin user, so let's use our credentials, which we put here. And in people who would like to repeat this demo, they can use any kind of credentials where they need to enter them again. Sign in, and here we have again this welcome screen with Blue Ocean installed already. Let's click on this Open Blue Ocean and we'll see that it is like very different UI. Here we there is welcome as a message showing us how to, inviting us to create a new pipeline. Let's click this, select GitHub. It's loading this and ask us to enter GitHub token. So let me show briefly how to do this. You can, when a GitHub account created, you need to go to settings. Under the settings, this is my account and I have already developer settings. There is personal access token. And let me see if we will allow to create. Yeah, generate new token. You click on generate new token. Well, enter your password for GitHub and just name this token. Let's say my token, for instance. And you need to specify that it is wrapper and also go to the bottom and select user and generate token. And here is like copy button. You can copy this, switch back to the screen where you have this input field, copy this token and show connect. So it allows Jenkins to connect to your GitHub repository. And again, we're assuming that the second requirement that you already have GitHub account created and created repository inside GitHub account. It is very easy to do. And again, I'm skipping this in order to not like spend a lot of time on doing this. I'm selecting my own repository. You will select your own repository, of course, after creating this. And here you can search, and I created one of the repositories here. Repositories, selecting this. And saying create pipeline. So it started creating pipeline, and let's see how long it will spend time creating this. It was very fast. Okay, so here I'm going to show how to edit this pipeline using this Blue Ocean plugin. It is very, very easy to do. Again, you are not writing any code. You are providing this stage, for instance, name. And let's be very traditional. For instance, build stage, which is usually one of the first stages. Again, it may be name anything, and you can do whatever you want, but this is just a sample what to do. And you can say building, message printing, and you can here again do something like test, which is very classical, and you can add steps, say here testing. You can add very traditional deploy, and add step here and say deploying. And you can save, and you can save to the master. This is master related to GitHub, not to Jenkins, and we're going to save this. So in this case, what Jenkins, specifically this Blue Ocean plugin, is doing, it saves Jenkins file, which we created, inside GitHub repository and starting to execute this. Let's go inside and see how it executes. It fetches everything from GitHub, and it shows us what it's doing currently. You can see this blue header at the top. It means this is still in the process. You can again click on this and see what is going on. And here you can see changing the color to green. It means the entire job had been completed. It was a very easy job. It was not sophisticated at all, but I'm going to say that, well, you didn't write, we didn't write any code by ourselves. We were just clicking the visual editor. It created all these different stages, build, test, deploy. We provided just one simple step in every stage, and it showed us how it did this end. For instance, we can click build step and see what it did during this stage. It was fetching everything from this version control system, building it, and so on. So this is very interesting and powerful. Let's go and switch back to presentation, and I'm going to show a little bit about declarative pipeline generator. In declarative pipeline generator, we can actually see what is the syntax of the pipeline which is implemented by pipeline engine, basically. And here we can see that we can use different agents, and we can specify, for instance, the value for this agent. It may be different directive, for instance, and we can press this generate declarative directive. It will show us the code associated with this directive and those values. So this will be generated by Jenkins. This is a very powerful way of learning the syntax and actually start using. So you can have ability of not only learning but starting using the syntax as you learn. And there is contextual help provided, of course. There is question marks here. And again, easy learning is one of the advantages of doing this. Let us see how it is implemented inside Jenkins. We'll go here. So let's switch here. To the main window. We can see that we already executed the first build. This is the time and so on. Let's click on our project, on our job. You can see pipeline syntax almost at the bottom. You can click on pipeline syntax and you will see here snippet generator. This is not what we are talking today about, but declarative directive generator. And here you can see exactly this screen. This generator allows us to generate the pipeline code. We can see here the directive, we can see here agent, we can generate here. Well, in this case, it is very simple. Now, here, if we click on agent, we can see all different directives here. But let's talk about just the first. This is the value of the agent. If we click this, we can see there is Docker agent. Well, we can specify this and it will show us image, what kind of image we need to put here. So let me a little bit talk about what we're doing here. We are trying here to orchestrate or call different agents, Docker agents. And in every Docker agent, we can install whatever software we need. So in case if we need to test something, as I mentioned before in the presentation, using, for instance, specific browser or specific version of software, specific version of Java, specific version of Maven, which is built and so on, we can do this using Docker images, Docker agents. Now, how to find out what kind of image we need to put here? It is also very, very easy to do. You click this online documentation, it will open the new window and it will show us exactly what we need to specify here. It will go a little bit low. We can see that agent, for instance, Docker, we can have this Maven 3 Alpine, for instance. This is a sample, of course. We may use different other image, but this allows us to try out and see what we are going to install, what we can install and see if it will work or not. Let's copy this and go back to our syntax and install this and see what will be generated here. We can click generate. It will be this image, which is, I'm sorry, it will be this code. Again, we didn't type this code. It was generated for us by Jenkins system. Now, you're saying in case, probably you think in case if the Jenkins have this kind of ability to generate this, why they don't use it inside the Blue Ocean plugin? And actually they do use it. Let's go back to Jenkins and see, open Blue Ocean plugin, and let's try to modify this. So let's click here, and let's click here, and let's click this modify button, and let's go to build. You will see here settings. Inside settings, you can do select agent, you can select, and let's put our Maven pipeline. Let's see what will happen. Let's also go to build steps, and let's add some steps. Shell script, for instance. You can see you can add a lot of steps. Let's verify that we're using correct image of Maven -v, and let's save it. And let's save it again, multi-branches, not to the master branch, but to our branch, because we don't know will it work or not. Let's call this branch, well, Docker agent branch, something like this. Provide some instructions. Well, we added Docker agent. And let's try to save and run. What it will do, it will go to, let's see, can I do this here? It will go to pipeline repositories in the GitHub. We'll go to our repository, and we can see this is Jenkins file created from the previous demo, and we have already 2 branches. And this is the second branch, Docker agent, what was specified here. So we already have into branches different Jenkins file. We can see this Jenkins file which we created before, and we can see under Docker agent the file which we created right now, Jenkins file, which actually is the code for declarative pipeline. It has this declarative pipeline. We can see this in GitHub. What's interesting also, if we go back to here, this is also very interesting. It started to execute in this Docker agent, and it cannot execute. Let's try to find why. Well, we have this red header, and we can see here Docker not found. Docker command was not found inside this official Docker image. Well, this is interesting. Let's figure out how to overcome this problem. Well, this is one of the issues, and I'm going to show that it is like not very complex to overcome this in case if you want to do something according to your requirements. Let's go back to the demo and to the presentation. I'm sorry, and let's see. Well, here what we did, right? We did installation, and now we're trying to customize our pipeline, and it doesn't run. So let's customize the entire image. For this, we have Docker file, which are, well, actually, it is the source for creating Docker images, and we can specify this from user root, and this is where trying to copy plugins text. Now, let me explain what we need to do. We need to actually duplicate what we did with the official Docker image, but we're trying to duplicate this using the code, and we're putting this code inside the Docker file, so the Docker image will be created automatically. We are trying to duplicate, again, installing plugins. This is something we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. Also, we can overcome the installation of the Docker command. We are putting this availability of Docker inside this customized Docker image. We're going to duplicate a couple more things. For instance, we let me switch back to demo here. We need to, let's go to this basic stuff. What we did here, we provided plugins. We provided this admin user. We need to do this admin user. And we need to also bypass this initial setup, screen setup wizard kind of thing, so it will create, go directly to this screen. So we're trying to not repeat the steps again through UI. We're going to put them inside the code, and Dockerfile is one of the ways of doing this. Let me switch to this environment. I have this Visual Code environment. This is the Docker file which was presented in the slides deck. Also, let me see, there is like this interesting script which allows us to get the list of the plugins which we currently have. So if we run this script, for instance, against run inversion, it will give us the list of scripts which already have inside the current version of Jenkins. We see here are 110 pipelines, and we can use this Docker file actually to build the new Jenkins image. I have makefile here, which you can run this Docker build command, but you can use simply make build. It is like simple command. It will try to create this image from this Docker file. I created it before, so it was not downloading different versions, different plugins, and so on. So it takes like this a couple seconds. In real time, in case if you start downloading, it will be like several minutes. Let's go to this screen.
Hey Vlad, this is Steve. Real quick, you can just jump back to that previous screen.
To previous screen.
Yeah.
So you mean Visual Code?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So one thing to point out, in order to run Docker within Docker, you have to expose the docker.sock. So on line 7 there, the docker.sock is being exposed, and that's very important in order to run Docker within Docker. What that's allowing is the Docker that's being run inside the container to be able to communicate with your Docker host and do a bunch of work. So if you don't have that, you're going to run into problems. You'll be banging your head down the road. Just wanted to point that out.
Right. Thank you very much, Steve. Yeah, this is very important that, again, this is where complexity is added a little bit to our previous run command. We're still specifying just one port, but this allows to communicate through sockets, between Dockers. So we just built the image, and let's try to run it using this command, make run, and see what will make run. See what will happen in case if we'll be able to do this. And we're doing, as you noticed right now, inside IDE. Well, it's just convenient to have everything here. We have here both the text of the file. So we have Jenkins. Yeah, well, it looks that something went wrong in our run command. It cannot run. Let's see what is going wrong. Let me see if we'll have this. Downloading metadata. Well, Jenkins is fully up and running. Let's see if we'll have this. Is fully up and running. This is new version, our customized version of Jenkins. There were some problems while running. We can look at them later. But right now we have OpenBlueOcean installed. We skipped this initial server wizard. We let's see if we created admin user. Let's do login, admin, and do sign in. And we are already as admin signed in, and we're going to BlueOcean. And let's create a new pipeline again. So what it will do, it will, well, if everything will go correctly. Let's grab this. I have somewhere recorded this token. Let's grab this and put it here and try to connect to GitHub using our customized version, selecting our account. And let's go and select the same repository which we are working with and try to create pipeline. So if everything will go correct, it will try to, well, run this pipeline. See if it is still completed. And it started running both branches, master branch and Docker agent branch, which we created using the previous official image. So master branch is, well, it's showing the current time, how it executes. We can go inside and see what is executed, what is not. And it is completed already. We can go inside here and see what is executed with this modified branch where we added Docker agent and we wanted to execute it. Well, it's executed. It's interesting. Let's go to the build step and see, well, Maven version, and we're printing Maven -v. Well, Maven version 3.5.0, Maven 3 is installed already. So we wanted to use Maven 3 and we're using Maven 3. So we achieved what we wanted. Well, this is just to show that it is possible to overcome some issues using this well, combination between Jenkins and Docker, very powerful combination where we can embed inside our Docker images, whatever we want, build them again, and after that, use them and install in case if we need it, run, and so on. So let me go to the slide. We are running out of time, I guess, and so just mention the basic takeaways. Jenkinson Docker, easy to run. Well, we saw that it is very easy to install. We can create Jenkins file with Blue Ocean plugin. Blue Ocean is one of these many plugins that allows us to, well, easily create this pipeline using Visual Editor. Without typing any code, it will generate this code. Declarative pipelines, which is like another next step in pipelines introduced by, well, Jenkins some time ago. And it is easy to understand. They are targeted mainly to like non-professional, programmers, I would say, not professional computer scientists. Using Declarative Generator, it is easy to learn the syntax and easy to use them. We can use Docker agents inside pipelines. Again, there are different declarative statements which we can use and customize official image. So next, absorb, explore, participate. We want to, like, if you want, you can go to these different websites. This is private repository. I'm going to make it public in case if you want to duplicate and use. There is Docker image official from GitHub, which you can use. Also, there is channel. It is just website which has a lot of channels where people contributing to Jenkins project exchange ideas, provide solutions, communicate, and so you will grab a lot of knowledge by going to this site. And in case if you want to participate, there is this site where you can just go, point your browser there, and you will learn how to participate in different areas, right? In documentation, code, testing, and so on. Well, I guess this brings to the end my presentation. This is my GitHub site, and this is my email in case if you want to reach me. Thank you very much, and I would be glad to answer questions in case there are.
Vlad, thank you so much. That was a really good presentation. It was great to have you do it from install all the way through creating those pipelines. It was amazing that we could do that in a presentation in an hour. So all of you, I have made sure that you were able to talk. So if you have a question, you just need to unmute yourself, and you can go ahead and unmute if you just want to ask a question. You can also post it to the questions, the Q&A. Looks like Zach answered his own questions, but that was very efficient of you, Zach.
Thank you.
But if there are any questions, any other questions you might have, Zach?
Oh yeah.
Or anybody else?
So I was going to ask regardless, but the makefile, what category does that fall under?
The Makefile is one of the tools. I would say it is one of DevOps tools, which is, well, have been used for centuries, I would say, thousands of years by community. And it allows to do, create these artifacts on different platforms, I would say, on Windows, on Mac, on Linux. You can just use the same Makefile, and it is easy to embed inside. It is just convenience. Category, I would say it is one of these built DevOps tools.
Where does it intro relate with the pipeline? I guess also I'm used to using shell scripts, but I never used Makefiles before for some reason, so it's a blind spot. But I get the gist of it from looking at the code. It looks cool and everything, but how does that interact with the pipeline? Or it's not for that? I couldn't figure that part out.
Well, thank you for asking. I guess I was showing Makefile just for the ease of use. Instead of typing the entire command, you can put specific command in the shell script, and so do something like build Docker image or run Docker image, but just make allows us to do these two things: name of command make, it will find the make file and execute proper.
So you were just using that as an internal tool to speed your demo along, make it more efficient?
Exactly. And sorry for
okay.
not clarifying this during presentation. Yeah, but it is just convenience. It is not.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Gotcha.
could just wrap those commands into a shell script.
Well, it's
Right.
more elegant than Makefile, so that was nice to see. But yeah, it was just, he was just using it. It doesn't have anything to do with the pipeline itself.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Cool.
Using Make is a lost art. Make is was an open source project from a long time ago. Most of all your C and C++ applications are compiled and linked using GNU Make, which is what most people use. So it is a powerful tool that is a lost art, and I was happy to see Vlad bring that back in the demo. It's like, oh, that was a clever use of Make.
I've seen it around in some repos, and I never got to the bottom of it. I never had the time to investigate it.
Yeah, when
But,
Java came, Ant sort of replaced Make. It does the kind of the linking different than the way Make was doing. Java requires a different kind of linking where you kind of load everything up in memory, and Makefiles didn't really do it that way. So Makefiles are generally around C.
I've seen it used, I think, with some Python stuff, and yeah.
Yeah. What's happening on that side is the Python code actually starts from some C code, so they're actually compiling the underlying C code that's wrappered up into a Python module. So there's a bridge that you have to compile between Python and C libraries, and that's what that Make program's doing for you.
I think also some Docker AWS integration. I watched a video on that, and they were using a Makefile to make that a more efficient tool chain. It's probably not to demote Jenkins, because I think it has a similar so whatever their version of a pipeline is. I don't use it, but it's good to know that it's out there.
Yeah, so when Jenkins first started hit the market, your CI process would call a Makefile to compile and link your binaries.
Cool, thanks for the answers.
So Vlad, if you had one other plugin that you would add, or a couple plugins that you'd add to your base Jenkins install, where would you start tackling that?
Where I would say, well, infrastructure as the code, kind of as a concept, is a powerful concept. So you can use plugins.txt, for instance, to add all these plugins into your environment. In terms, if you mean which plugin, I personally like C configuration as code. They have this plugin, which allows to do pretty much what I described right now by using Docker files. So combining those together would be very interesting also to explore. But again, there are so many plugins that a lot of choices.
Right. Okay, just curious.
Thank you, Steve.
No problem. Thank you. It was a great presentation and demo. It was very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. And again, just I wanted to show that it is like not very complex to start using this, and complexity may you can get some complexity later as you go further trying to satisfy your requirements. But initially it is like very enjoyable and yeah, wanted to attract more users to contribute into Jenkins project.
Yes, definitely. If you're interested, go check out the Jenkins project and take a look. They'll have some easy first-timer issues to work on. So there's a little bit for everybody out there. So go check that out. Also on the Docker build front, just want to mention that if your admins don't let you have access to the Docker host, there's another build engine for Docker called Conoco, came out of Google, that allows you to build Docker containers without having a Docker host around and needing to connect to one. So that will allow you to do a Docker image build using Conoco inside of a Docker container. So just throw that out there.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning this. Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Well, great. So we'll go ahead and get this. This session has been recorded, and it takes a little bit for it to get rendered up on Zoom, and once it does, we'll push it up to YouTube and send the link out so everybody can pass it around, and if anybody missed it, they'll be able to watch it again. Again, thank you very much, Vlad. It was a great presentation.
Thank you, Steve, for again inviting and just commenting on this valuable comments. Thank you very much.
No problem. And keep an eye out on the meetups for the next one. You'll see that coming out. And if you do want to present, if you have a topic that you'd like to present about, just get in touch with Tracy and she'll get you on the schedule. We're a couple months out for time slots. So if you have an idea, pass it by her, we'll get you on the schedule, then you got some time to work on it. Again, thank you, Vlad, and thank you everybody for that showed up today. And everybody take care.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks again.